It is night 6 of the NBA playoffs, and for the third time, we've got doubleheaders on 2 networks. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ernie Johnson. Here's the way it works. Here on TBS, Miami and New York, it's Game 3 coming up next. Later on TNT, about an hour from now, the Hornets will try to sweep the Atlanta Hawks in Game 3 at the Georgia Dome. Now spin the bracket wall for me, and let's talk about the West. On TBS later tonight, Seattle taking on Minnesota. They're tied up at 1 apiece, and later the Lakers look for a sweep as they play on TNT at the Rose Garden. Here in the studio, we call it a quad. You at home, you can just call it the NBA playoffs. And the hunt for the Larry O'Brien Trophy continues next. Let's head to the Garden.
And each morning when I wake and touch this scar across my face, it reminds me of all I got by being a winner. I got arthritic elbows, boy, I got dislocated knees from picking fights with thunderstorms and charging into trees. And my nose been broke so often I might lose it if I sneeze. And son, you say you still wanna be a winner, but my eyes still see and my nose still works and my teeth are still in my mouth. And you know, I guess that makes me the winner.
Now the song's a generation old, but don't the lyrics seem somehow appropriate for this series? A hard-fought series between the Miami Heat and the New York Knicks, and we welcome you back to New York City for Game 3 with this series tied at 1 game apiece. Hi once again, everybody. Vern Lundquist along with Doc Rivers. Welcome back to the Garden. The New York Knicks got what they wanted out of their trip south, a split in the series. Now it becomes a best 2 out of 3. They have home court advantage, and Miami has won only 3 times in 25 previous trips into this arena. Doc, no surprise, hard-fought but clean the first 2 games and defensively oriented.
Well, we knew defense would be the constant. That's no surprise. But I still say, like I said in Game 1, Vern, offense is the key to the series, and not just offense, or who could create offense. In Game 1, Eric Murdoch came off the bench, and he was great, but it was still Tim Hardaway's 34 points. That was the difference in Game 2. John Starks had a sensational game, but it was Allen Houston's 24 points. More importantly, his 6 assists and 9 rebounds that made the difference. It is still these 2 characters that will make or decide the outcome of this series.
Well, Jeff Van Gundy's team won Sunday in Miami, and yet he's going to tinker with the lineup. He is making a change tonight.
Yeah, he's starting Chris Dudley at center, putting Mills on the bench and putting Oakley at the power forward spot. I like this move for several reasons. One, they hope that Chris Dudley can guard Alonzo Mourning by himself. No help, that means that the Knicks can stay with Miami shooters. And number 2, Charles Oakley can roam. When he guards Alonzo Mourning, he's not allowed to roam, and that hurts Charles Oakley's overall play.
Well, the New York Knicks will not have Patrick Ewing. He's in civvies again tonight. But despite his absence, here's a surprise. The Knicks have out-rebounded Miami in the first 2 games. Series tied at 1-1. We're at the Garden. There's a special feeling in this place tonight. We'll share it with you when we come back.
Miami and New York, followed by Seattle and Minnesota tonight on TBS. In the studio, welcome Matt is out for Muggsy. Tyrone Bogues, 5'3" and change. He's done what a lot of folks said he could not. He's played 11 years in the NBA, this past season in Charlotte and in Golden State. We welcome you to our Atlanta studio. Ernie Johnson along with Kenny Smith and Muggsy Bogues. Thanks for being with us tonight, Muggs.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, let's take a look at the game that's going to follow this one. The Seattle going to Minnesota, and Minnesota steals one out there at Key Arena. What do you look for?
Well, I think Minnesota is very excited right now. They got a win out of Seattle, probably which they wasn't expecting, and I think Flip, the coach, deserves a lot of credit, you know, with the lineup change. You know, inserting Porter into the lineup kind of created a mismatch for Seattle. They was unaware of what was going on, and they got a lot of big play out of some of their bench play later down in the stretch.
So the series is 1-1. Now, what do you do if you're the Sonics and you're going into that zoo, as Kevin Garnett said?
Well, if I'm George Karl, I'm just going into the locker room telling my guys, listen, we've always lost game 2 over the last 4 years. We've got to the NBA Finals before, so no need for concern. We're still going to be okay.
Vin Baker got to get more than 6 shots this time around, though. Back with more as the night goes on with Muggsy and Kinney, but up next, Miami and New York, followed by the Sonics and Timberwolves on TBS and on TNT. Hornets and Hawks, Lakers and Blazers. We're with you all night, folks.
The NBA playoffs on TBS, brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. By the new Dodge. From cars to minivans to trucks, it's about change. The new Dodge. By Fila, a new attitude, new performance, change the game. And by AT&T, it's all within your reach.
Welcome back to the Garden. 260th consecutive sellout. Game 3, first round of the NBA on TBS tonight. And we will check the starting lineups for the Miami Heat. Sean Leonard, Tim Hardaway in the backcourt. Jamal Mashburn starts for the injured Dan Marley tonight. Alonzo Mourning and P.J. Brown. And for the New York Knicks, Charlie Ward and Allen Houston at guards. Larry Johnson, there's the Chris Dudley change, and Charles Oakley moves to power forward. Now for more on that Dan Marley story, let's join our colleague Craig Sager.
Well, Dan Marley's reputation as the ultimate warrior has added a new chapter. He suffered a severe groin injury in the last couple of minutes of Game 2. Not only was he listed as doubtful for tonight, but I talked to him at 6:20 when he was in street clothes on the bench. He was still in street clothes at 6:50, not expecting to play. He also is suffering from a hernia that will require surgery at the end of the season. However, Coach Pat Riley went up to him and said, "Can you give it a go?" He said, "Coach, I'm always ready to put on the uniform." Maybe it's a move of deception. If so, it did not surprise Charles Oakley. I talked to him just seconds ago, and he said, "It's Marley. You figure he's going to be dressed." However, being with him all day, Doc, Vern, I just can't see him being effective. Perhaps you just have him for a decoy or for some late inbound pass or some inspirational move. But Marley, he's in uniform. He could be ready. Vern?
All right, Craig. Well, Patrick Ewing will not be in uniform tonight. Doc, I know you talked to Pat Riley this afternoon. He was hopeful that Marley could go.
Yeah, he said the thing with Dan Marley, he said maybe for the rest of his career, every time he plays will be a game decision, and that was a decision. I think it's a good one. You know, he is really banged up. We watched him in Game 1, saw him on TV in Game 2. He's struggling, but you never know. Maybe he can throw the ball in one time and help the team.
Tip at center taken by Oakley after Dudley almost fanned on it. Dick Bavetta, Terry Durham, and Tommy Nunez are the officiating crew tonight. There's Charlie Ward into the hands of Allen Houston. He's picked up by Sean Leonard. Pump fake underneath the Dudley. And Dudley had the shot altered by Alonzo Mourning. Right side to Hardaway. Great Game 1. Really average Game 2. Hardaway only 4 of 15 shooting in Game 2. Here's Mourning. Misses his first, and Allen Houston goes up to get the rebound.
Talking to Pat Riley this morning, he said that's the shot Alonzo Mourning's going to have to make, that 10 and 15 play.
Allen Houston's first shot of the night, and he will go to the free throw line.
Well, this is the other thing. When you start Chris Dudley at the center spot and you bring in Oakley at the power forward spot, that forces Leonard to guard Houston. In the first 2 games, Leonard really has not guarded Allen Houston. They have put a bigger guy on him, Dan Marley or even Mashburn. A big guy has to guard Charles Oakley, and that makes Leonard have to guard Houston, and I think that's big.
Allen Houston's first free throw is good. Deshaun Leonard guilty of the foul. Chris Dudley, of course, got his first start for the Knicks a week after Patrick Ewing went out with the broken and dislocated wrist. And then in February, after 21 consecutive starts, Dudley broke a metatarsal bone in his right foot. He played token minute in the first game of the series, did not get off the bench in Game 2. Out he comes, Jamal Mashburn, and that's key for Miami.
Yeah, that's a big play right there. You need to get Mashburn off early. He struggled. He's missed so many games. It's really tough. But that's the one guy who scares Jeff Van Gundy. And he was telling us earlier before the game about Mashburn. He's capable.
Mashburn missed 31 games with a broken thumb. There's Houston missing, and Mashburn has the rebound. Came back on the active roster. He's now playing in his 4th consecutive game since getting back to health, but he's really struggled with his timing. Foul underneath on Dudley,
Well, you can see the physical play. They want to force Alonzo Mourning away from the bucket. They don't mind if he faces up and takes jump shots. At least that way he's not getting everyone else involved because you have to double team him. And you can see the fight. They're fighting for position.
Here's Mashburn in the post, guarded by Larry Johnson. Double team comes from Oakley. They kick it out along the baseline to P.J. Brown. P.J. Brown, who had a big first half in Miami in game 1, but hasn't done much since then. Here's Johnson, who has played extremely well in the first 2 games. Misses his first. And Mourning with a rebound.
Yeah, but already you can see the difference in what Charles Oakley does when he's at the power forward spot. He can roam. And you can also see the physical play on this last time. Look at Chris Dudley and Alonzo Mourning go at it. And Alonzo, they call traveling. Chris Dudley is very lucky they didn't call a foul.
Oakley will inbound. Charlie Ward picked up by Hardaway. Johnson now top of the key. Now Houston sets the screen. 10 to go first quarter. Johnson goes baseline.
Boy, he had him. You know, I think P.J. Brown will bother Larry Johnson with his jump shots, and Larry Johnson has to use his quickness to go around P.J. Brown. He did it there. He just couldn't control the basketball.
Leonard off the screen of P.J. Brown.
He's really shooting well from the three-point line. I think what scares Pat Riley is over half his shots in this series have been from the three-point line, and he wants him to drive the basketball a little bit more.
Now Leonard had 25 points in the loss on Sunday, but none in the final quarter, the final 16 minutes, actually. Here's Houston. Rashawn Leonard puts a body on him, and Allen Houston takes him.
Allen Houston has a height advantage. He didn't have that on Dan Marley. He doesn't have that on Askins or Mashburn.
Dudley with a quick second foul.
Well, that's not what Jeff Van Gundy wanted. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Van Gundy stayed with Chris Dudley a little longer. You know, I think he's used like McIlvain is going to be used in Seattle.
There's Dudley fighting for the rebound, and this may be on Mourning. Loose ball foul.
That's the other reason Dudley's in the game.
Right.
Dudley has an unorthodox game, and he will make you foul him at times also. But again, Chris Dudley has 2 fouls on away from the ball positioning fight. And here's Alonzo Mourning over the back. That was almost, well, I just gave him one, I have to give you one.
One of the paradoxes in the first 2 games, Mourning in foul trouble in game 1, only 22 minutes, and his team won. He had 30 points in the loss on Sunday. Here's Mashburn. Nice, strong move.
Say 2 buckets from Mashburn, 1 jumper, 1 drive. I think already he's into this game.
What was an hour and a half ago, Van Gundy sat with us and said, the one guy that scares me is Jamal Mashburn.
Well, you know, he knows 2 guys who will score for Miami, and that's Hardaway and Mourning. We don't know who the 3rd guy is, and it has to be Mashburn.
Here's Leonard for 2 more.
He's not a bad other guy.
No. And it's a 9-4 lead.
Now, this is exactly what happened in game 1 and in game 2. Miami came out with quick, big leads.
Hardaway and Dudley exchange shoves and words, and the New York Knicks have called timeout. 9-4 Miami off to a 5-point lead with 8:16 to go first quarter.
I bring certain things to the table defensively. I'm reading, I'm fronting Alonzo most of the time. Oakland play behind him a little more. Terry Cummings brings another element where he put a little more pressure on him offensively. Chris Dudley is a good defensive player. You know, he's big, has good size.
And then in game 2, Terry Cummings didn't play in game 1. Look what Terry Cummings does. In game 2, he made him shoot jump shots. He almost dared him. And off of that, then he fought him for position. I thought Terry Cummings had a terrific game. He was brought in for offense, but he really played great defense, forcing Alonzo to take jump shots instead of establish his post position.
Out of the timeout, Allen Houston back in the hands of Charles Ward. Oakley. Entry pass to Dudley. Goes baseline. Traveled.
Well, Dudley's pointing down to his foot, saying that he never changed his pivot foot. But you can't move them both. And you can see Buck trying to give Dudley some advice. And I don't think Dudley wants to hear it right now.
Here's Dudley out on Hardaway, and Mourning misses underneath. The putback is no good as well. And Oakley with the rebound.
He's rushing everything, and that's the effect of Chris Dudley.
They continue their battle in the post. Here's Dudley, the switch, and Mashburn picks up the foul.
Well, that's a smart foul. I'm sure they have a foul rule on Dudley. Anytime he has a chance to make the basket, you foul him, because he is not a very good free throw shooter. I don't even know if we can say very good. He's a poor free throw shooter, but he's better this year.
Yeah, but that's incremental.
Yes, it is. Look at that.
At the line.
But you know the other thing that Chris Dudley brings to the Knicks, he erases the Knicks' defensive mistakes. When you don't have him or Patrick Ewing in the game and you drive down the lane, there's nobody to block the shot. Chris Dudley is a shot blocker. Ewing is a shot blocker. It's amazing the Knicks have the record they have with both of these guys not playing.
God trying to will Dudley to success on this free throw effort.
Well, good luck.
See, it's all power of positive thinking.
Boy, I tell you, you figure a 50% chance of making one.
9-5. Mashburn, 2 of 2. He is perfect on the night. Here's Hardaway posting up Charlie Ward. Backs in, goes baseline, hits it.
Good. You know, we talked about this morning, Vern, that they have not posted Tim Hardaway up. And I think that's another advantage for Miami, because he can score in the post and he can draw double teams.
Here's Houston, catch and shoot.
Yeah, he can't do that on Marley because Marley has the height. He can do that on Leonard because he's bigger.
Deficit is 4, and a foul away from the basket. Mourning. That's 2 and 2 now.
Well, they're going to call a double foul.
Double foul.
That's the victor is Chris Dudley. He doesn't mind. That's 3 on Dudley. He's going to have to come out. But that's 2 on Mourning, and he has to come out because you take Mourning out with 2, you leave Dudley in with 2.
John Starks, who was one of the stars for New York in the victory Sunday, makes his first appearance. And he will replace Dudley, and Oakley will go back to the 5 spot.
Yeah, but that takes out a defensive player for the Knicks and brings in an offensive player for the Knicks, and that takes out a great offensive player for Miami and brings in the defense. So I think advantage New York. Dudley did exactly what Jeff Van Gundy wanted him to do. Either stop Mourning or get him in foul trouble.
Well, he sits with 2. Yep, same thing that happened in game 1. Keith Askins replaces Mourning. Here's Hardaway to P.J. Brown. Right side with Sean Leonard. Short with a shot. Houston got position on Askins and takes it all the way. Oh. Hardaway hurries at the other end. Miami by 2. Hardaway off the glass. Kissed it.
Well, he's brought game 8 tonight, and you can see it early. But right now, Hardaway not only has to score a ton of points while Alonzo's out, he also has to get other guys involved.
Larry Johnson goes up for the basket. And if it's Mashburn, it's his second. It is. And let's see if Pat Riley makes a move.
Well, this move is not as quick as the Alonzo move.
Right.
He might think about it for a little while, and you can see him thinking, should I leave him in or not? There was no doubt when Alonzo Mourning got his second foul, he was coming out.
Larry Johnson misses the first of 2.
There's some guys, Vern, you can gamble with, and there's some guys you can't afford to.
Now Marty Conlon's going to come on the floor. He had the dreaded DMP CD the first 2 games.
Yeah, players don't like those letters.
Did not play, coach's decision. But he's getting set to make his first appearance in this playoff series. Here's Hardaway, Charlie Ward. Conlon on, Mashburn sits. So it's Conlon and Brown, Askins, Leonard and Hardaway for Miami. Leonard off the pass from Hardaway.
Yeah, and great pick by Marty Conlon. Leonard right now has to be the other guy with Mashburn out and with Alonzo Mourning out. Leonard's 3 for 4 with 7 points. He has to be the other guy to score points.
John Starks picked up for the offensive foul. So another turnover for New York. And they find themselves trailing by 5, under 6 to go in the first quarter.
Well, a small blessing in disguise. When the Knicks went small, that enabled the Heat to go a little bit bigger and bring in Keith Askins. Now he can guard Allen Houston.
Conlon back to Hardaway. Here's the 3 from Hardaway. Yes! 2. He was on the line.
I think he has it on lock.
Yeah.
Tonight. But usually he's a fourth quarter player, and already he's playing big in the first quarter.
Hardaway, 3 of 3, had the ineffective game 2, but he's fresh from a 34-point effort in game 1 of this series, and he's perfect tonight. A 22nd timeout.
Yeah, Jeff Van Gundy called that timeout for 2 reasons. 1, he's telling them we got to watch Hardaway. 2, we have to stop Leonard and make Hardaway carry him all the way. And 3, guys, Alonzo Mourning's on the bench. We have to make a run right now.
1998 playoffs, a doubleheader for you tonight on TBS. Coming up next, the Minnesota Timberwolves at home against Seattle. That's the second game in that series. It's tied a game apiece.
Boy, how about that? I mean, that for that franchise, their first playoff victory. What a victory in Seattle. Number 1 in the West. Number 2 in the West. That's just an amazing victory.
I know you like the way Stephon Marbury's playing.
Yeah, I like Stephon Marbury. I think he is right up there with any top point guard in the league. Kevin Garnett, since Gugliotta has been out, has been phenomenal. But I think the steal trade of the year is Anthony Peeler.
17-10. Here's Houston. That's for 3.
Well, we were waiting for the game that both Tim Hardaway and Allen Houston had big games, and so far they both are 4 for 5 for Houston with 11 points.
Allen Houston negated by Marley in game 1. Here's Starks off the turnover. John takes it all the way up and in.
And Jeff Van Gundy loves when John Starks' first bucket is a layup because that gives him a little confidence. Though I think after these last 2 games, his confidence is just fine.
John Starks battling a 2-month slump, had miserable effect from the field, but he came out of the slump a little bit in game 1. Here's another turnover. At the other end, Starks. Yes! Oh, what a pass.
What a pass and what a catch. I thought he could catch it. I didn't think he could make it.
Miami with a 22nd. Now it's become a full. And the Knicks have scored the last 7. Now Charles Oakley got the turnover and then a perfect pass.
Yeah, I mean, first the flick from behind. Last second, gets his hand on the ball, and watch this pass. Allen Houston over the shoulder. The pass was great. It was right on the money, but I thought the catch and shot was even better.
Looked like a Hail Mary.
I tell you what, very few receivers catch that ball.
I know. I thought about Staubach to Drew Pearson there for a second. It looked terrific. 7-0 run in the last 51 seconds. 2 turnovers have helped.
You know, Charlie Ward went into that huddle and said, Allen, that is a nice pass.
Ward would appreciate it more than most.
Yes, he would.
Heisman Trophy winner, Florida State. Hardaway gets the pick and roll with P.J. Brown. Bashawn Leonard, John Starks guards him. They've got Charlie Ward on Hardaway. Larry Johnson defending P.J. Brown, who goes in the paint and gets it.
Yeah, they still need to establish a low post presence, and it has to be P.J. Brown down there low. The Knicks will not double team him. We'll have all day to put the ball on the floor. He just has to make the shot.
Brown's first basket. This is going to be called against Miami. It's Keith Askins.
Well, Keith Askins is just grabbing. He needs to do something to slow down Allen Houston. The same thing on the other hand. The Knicks are thinking the same thing about Tim Hardaway.
Allen Houston shoots 2 at the free throw line. Miami by 2 at 19-17. In game 1, only 5 of 18 from the field. Markedly improved, 50% in game 2.
Yeah, but I think the rebounds, the shots he took in game 2, and even more importantly, like I said in the open, his assists were real nice. It got other people involved. Same thing Tim Hardaway has to do.
Allen Houston, 12 points on 4 of 5 from the field tonight, a 1-point margin. Here's Hardaway, back to Marty Conlon. Deshaun Leonard catch and shoot. Boy, he has really got off to a quick start.
Yeah, he really has. And they're doing a nice job giving him space to get his shot open. If he gets his shot off, it's going in if he gets a good look.
Allen Houston.
You know, that's amazing. I mean, that's Keith Askins. They just threw over and he shot over. You know what Jeff Van Gundy said? People forget that Allen Houston is not only tall, he has long arms, and he's a great leaper.
14 first quarter points for Allen Houston. Back to Leonard. He'll match you. That's a three.
See, and Van Gundy has to be burned because that's 3 times they've left Allen Houston wide, or I'm sorry, Rashawn Leonard wide open. And you can't do that if you're the Knicks.
Deshaun Leonard has matched Allen Houston's effort. He is 5 of 6.
And that's important.
Foul on Askins, his second.
Well, you got to do something to guard. You have to be physical. I mean, look at this lob pass. We've seen 2 great passes already. I mean, this is a tough pass over Askins, and then the shot.
Gets the first.
But, Bert, I tell you, if I'm Miami right now, I'm thrilled. You got Mashburn on the bench in foul trouble. You have Mourning on the bench in foul trouble. And you're up 2 points if Houston makes this with 2:59 in the first quarter. You have to be thrilled to death.
Well, you could hear the chant in the background. The first part of that chant was Riley. And Pat, hearing the crowd, urged them to come on, bring it, he said.
Yeah, well, he's trying to take the pressure off his players and put it on his shoulder. The problem is it's going to be tough for him to go out and score a bucket. He has to have his guys do that, and right now they're doing it.
Charlie Ward will rest, and Chris Childs comes on. It was Childs who hit the biggest basket at the end of the game Sunday in Miami, a 3-pointer off the assist from Allen Houston.
And also, when Childs comes in, they put John Starks on Tim Hardaway. He did a nice job on him in game 2.
There will be 4 men guarding Hardaway before the night is over. Now Childs on Deshaun Leonard. And Childs bodies him up. Hardaway posts him up and then shoots it.
You know, he got carried away. He was doing a great job defensively, and all he had to do was contest the shot. Instead, he started talking to him. They started talking to each other, and he got overzealous. I like what Leonard did here, though. Leonard is a bigger guy. He says, this is how I feel all game guarding Allen Houston, so I'm going to take the little guy down there, and he did it. Smart play by Rashawn Leonard. This is a battle of matchups so far. Whoever has the matchup, whoever has the advantage, the other coach is trying to take advantage of that.
First free throw attempt for the Miami Heat. And Deshaun Leonard shoots one more. And he's got 14 first quarter points.
Yeah, I think that is so big because, again, you know, talking to Riley this morning, he said, I know my 2 guys will play well. We need one more guy to play well, and right now he's getting that.
Starks pick and roll with Larry Johnson. Here's Houston. Entry pass to Johnson. Threw it away. And it's taken by Keith Askins. That's 5 first quarter turnovers, a 4-point Miami lead.
That's the other thing Miami said they wanted to do is turn the Knicks over. They believe the Knicks are a poor passing team.
Terry Cummings getting ready to make his first appearance tonight.
And that's his second foul on Chris Childs, Vernon. And you know what's happening? Rashawn Leonard is baiting Chris Childs. You got him talking now. He has him playing physical. But Rashawn Leonard is taking advantage of it because Childs is doing the fouling.
And Deshaun Leonard back at the line.
There's a lot of talking already in this game, and it's almost like guys are trying to set each other up. I thought Chris Dudley set Alonzo Mourning out. Rashawn Leonard has returned the favor on Chris Childs.
Now, Terry Cummings, one of the heroes of that victory on the road. Cummings did not make an appearance in the first game.
He wasn't real thrilled about that either, huh?
No. For the moment, forgot his Pentecostal ministerial roots.
He did, boy, I tell you.
But what an effort he gave for the New York Knicks in game 2. 14 rebounds.
Yeah, I think surprisingly, Jeff Van Gundy put him in to play offense, and he turned into a great defensive player.
Now Cummings at the pick. Here's Houston. Askins plays with 2 fouls. 1:48 to go in the first quarter of play and a 4-point Miami lead. Chris Childs. At the shot clock. Offensive board. Childs, no. And P.J. Brown comes down with the ball.
I tell you what, if you thought Chris Childs was passing that ball, you're crazy. He wanted to go at Leonard something awful.
And that's what he did.
Yeah, he did.
Something awful. 26-22. 3-second violation, Miami. Eric Murdoch will come on the floor now, replacing Deshaun Leonard.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Pat Riley, that is a nice substitution. Leonard's having a great first quarter. He doesn't want him to get caught up with Childs, so he's going to take him out. And he's bringing in a guy who has just been terrific in this series.
Eric Murdoch had 16 points in the Miami victory last Thursday. Another New York turnover.
And 3 or 4 of those turnovers have been unforced errors.
Only 15 turnovers in the first game for the Knicks, 13 in the second. They've already totaled up 6. Final 1 minute, opening quarter. Hardaway to Conlon.
Okay, it does not look good, but it will go in. He is an effective player. He's a lot like Chris Dudley. It doesn't look good, but it works.
I was just thinking of that. 6-point Miami lead. Their largest has been 7. Starks gets the screen from Oakley and takes the jumper. In and out. Rebound Brown.
I'm surprised the Knicks have gone away from Allen Houston, who was on fire. That really surprises me.
Hardaway puts a body on Starks, and a loose ball foul is going to be called against Marty Cummings.
Well, you can see a great block out. The one thing the Knicks do, and Jeff Van Gundy said it before the game, we are a great team that blocks out. We block out against everybody, and that's why we rebound so well. But even he said he's very surprised that they're winning the rebounding war. Their guards have been huge, Barry. Their guards have really rebounded well.
Yeah, between them, they've almost accumulated 20 rebounds per game.
That's always a bonus.
Terry Cummings will be at the free throw line with 25.5 remaining.
Yeah, I remember back before the salary cap days, Mike Fratello used to pay our guards. If we, as a group, could get 15 rebounds, he would give us $100 each. Twice in 82 games.
Leonard back on now for P.J. Brown.
Knowing how tight Mike Fratello is, I think he knew we couldn't get those rebounds.
Anthony Bowie comes on for the New York Knicks, and he'll replace Oakley here in the final 25 seconds. Cummings will shoot one more. So despite the absence of Alonzo Mourning and Jamal Mashburn, Miami up by 6.
Yeah, and that is huge. That is really big.
Cummings misfires twice. Murdoch. And a foul on Cummings.
Yeah, and if you're Miami right now, you're thinking your number 1 offensive guy is sitting on the bench. Your number 3 offensive guy is sitting on the bench. And you have a chance to go up by 8 points and score 30 points in the first quarter.
They got 30 in the first game. They were up by 13 at the end of that one. They had a 14-point lead in the second quarter. Van Gundy said we really caught lightning in the bottle. Those of you who watched the game, the Knicks were down by 17 and hit 4 consecutive three-pointers. Now foul trouble. Mashburn, Mourning, and Askins, and Dudley sits with 3. Childs has picked up 2.
Well, what you look at is that's a lot of big guys in foul trouble. And for Miami, it's a lot of guys trying to guard Allen Houston. For the Knicks, it's guys trying to guard Alonzo Mourning. It's no secret.
Lead is 8. The total 30 points for Miami.
The Knicks is going to go for the last shot. They love ISO on the floor, but what Riley's going to do, he's going to make Houston pick the ball up and get it out of his hands.
Now it's back to Houston. Askins guards him. Houston got it.
The mistake they made was they allowed Houston to get the ball back. Once he got it out of his hands, you can't allow him to touch it again.
Deshaun Leonard with a big first quarter, and he's fresh from a career playoff high of 25 points. We've reached the end of one, and the Miami Heat on the road lead the New York Knicks by 6. Madison Square Garden in the heart of New York City, Game 3 in this first-round NBA playoff series between these two emotionally charged rivals, the Miami Heat and the New York Knicks. And the stars have come out, Penny Marshall and Billy Crystal among those here tonight. Kevin Bacon, and only 3 degrees away, Billy Baldwin.
Yeah.
Cindy Crawford. There's John F. Kennedy Jr.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why this place is special.
Conlon, and Oakley grabs him.
Yeah, that was an easy call. I think Oakley thought he had ball, but he had arm and hand first. And he worked his way up to the ball.
Askins, Brown, Conlon, P.J. Brown, Hardaway, and Murdoch on the floor for Miami. Mourning continues to sit. There's Tim Hardaway in the lane for 2. Lead is 8.
Marty Conlon is giving the Heat some big minutes.
Now Childs guarded by Hardaway. Allen Houston has 18 points in the first quarter. Pass to Terry Cummings. Conlon guards it. Cummings. Nope.
Well, they're looking for another offensive guy. Right now it's been all Allen Houston. He has 18 of the Knicks' 24 points.
Starks guards Hardaway. Hardaway throws it up. And here's Starks at the other end. Oakley tracks it down. Kicks it back out with a fresh 24.
And I'll say it again, if I'm the Knicks, I'll milk Allen Houston until he stops making it.
And here's Houston as Askins slips. Allen Houston. Now with 20.
What's the saying if it ain't broke?
Right. Alonzo Mourning getting ready to come back. Larry Johnson is as well. And Deshaun Leonard will join Mourning in the Miami lineup. New York has led only once. That was at 2-0. Askins slipped a moment ago.
Yeah, watch Allen Houston come around the screen here, and you'll see Askins just slip. He thought that Houston was going to fade, I think, and he was fooled by the cut.
Alonzo Mourning had to sit for much of the first quarter because he picked up a quick second foul.
Well, look at the field goal percentage. 65% and 50%, and this is a defensive series, you say?
Right.
Wow.
Houston 7 of 8 has hit the last 9 for the Knicks. Here's Murdoch.
But game 1 and 2, both teams started out. They shot the ball pretty well, and then by third, fourth quarter, those percentages come down drastically.
Cummings fronting Alonzo Mourning, so they go over the top. Out of bounds, touch blast by Mourning.
Well, fronting has really not been effective. The Knicks thought it would. So far, Alonzo in the first 2 games has had a ton of dunks. He's not getting them tonight on the front, but he hasn't been in.
Turnovers even at 6 apiece. Childs, pick and roll. Back in the hands of Allen Houston. Larry Johnson. He backs P.J. Brown in. The foul is called on P.J. Brown. That's his first timeout.
The NBA playoffs continue on TNT and TBS. Every game counts.
Dan Marley guarded Allen Houston game 1 of this series last Friday in Miami and did a superb job. Allen Houston frustrated, but Marley overcome with an injury to his groin in game 2. And Houston put a body on him, hit this 3. Allen Houston, a large game in the second game, the victory.
Yeah, and I like what they did in game 2. The adjustment that the Knicks made was, I want you to take a look here. First, the ISO. They went high and they put all 4 players low. Now watch the players move. You got 2 guards moving while Allen Houston is making his move. There's no time to help. Allen Houston's allowed to get space and get his shot off. Smart move by Jeff Van Gundy.
Allen Houston with 20 of the 26 New York points, and he had an assist over and back.
Well, he's had an assist. He's scored, basically, he's accounted for 22 of the Knicks' 26 points. He scored the last 9 points, and he's been the only Knick to score for the last 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So to say he's having a terrific game is an understatement.
Murdoch, P.J. Brown. With Sean Leonard, Hardaway rest, Askins, and Mourning for Miami. Here's Houston out on Askins. Chris Childs on Murdoch.
Now, that's an illegal defense. And I think that's the toughest call in the game to make. But even I could have made that one. And Terry Cummings was just camped in the middle of the lane. They were playing a 2-3 zone.
That's the first, and the second will result in a technical if we get there. Here's Murdoch and Childs. With Sean Leonard, guarded by Starks, Askins, and a good job by Cummings of knocking that one away.
Boy, he's really fighting Alonzo Mourning for position, and he's winning.
Houston, Askins right with him this time. And Askins, they go to the floor, and Askins saves it. Here's Sean Leonard, Starks back. Askins very slow getting up. Mourning short with a shot, then gets his own ball.
Yeah, but did you see the position? When Alonzo Mourning wins the position more, he is going to score. He can score a layup if he gets the right position. I'm watching Duncan and Robinson last night against Phoenix. Every time they got great position, they scored on dunks.
Alonzo Mourning, 1 of 5 now, his first basket. The lead is 8. We play early in the second quarter. Larry Johnson. Gotten off to a slow start, but maybe that comes to an end as he gets that one and Brown fouls him.
Well, somebody else has to pitch in offensively, and Larry Johnson in the first 2 games has been terrific. I mean, you can see him posting up right here. I mean, he backs down. He's not as tall, but he uses his body so well to guard away from the defensive player. He's shooting 53%, Brian.
Johnson playing on bad ankles, but you would never know it from his play in these first 2 games. And he completes a 3-point play to cut the deficit to 5. Now Sean Leonard guarded by Starks, 14 first quarter points. P.J. Brown picked up the foul, his second. Jamal Mashburn back on the floor, the empty pass to Mourning. And Cummings backs away, the double comes from Childs. Murdoch gets the return pass, dishes to Brown for 2.
Oh my. Eric Murdoch. Brown gets the layup, but it's Murdoch again. He is a guy who drives every chance he gets. And you know, he can make the 3, and that's why he's able to drive, because everyone honors that shot. So they run at him at full speed. He puts the ball on the floor, and he sets everybody else up.
Johnson backs in on Brown. And it gets a little physical. P.J. Brown, of course, played here with the New Jersey Nets, was the focal point of the controversy in Game 5 in Miami last May. The last time, and of course, that was when he flipped Charlie Ward, and 5 Knicks left the bench and had to serve suspensions.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, P.J. Brown, he knew he was going to foul there, and all he did was pull him down a little bit. But that's fine. P.J. Brown is a clean basketball player. And look at Eric Murdoch. What a nice pass. Murdoch, once again, is paying dividends for Pat Riley.
Miami leads by 7 moments to go. A foul by P.J. Brown, and remembering the altercation a year ago with Charlie Ward that led to the suspensions of several players, including Patrick Ewing, you'd expect that P.J. Brown would be the most unwinded guest at any New York gathering. But look what happened after games 1 and 2. The post-prayer meeting for the Knicks huddle, and there is P.J. Brown in the middle of it. The Miami staff said what they found even more unsettling is the fact that teams get together in prayer before meetings. As for Jeff Van Gundy, he said he prefers that they do it in private. However, P.J. Brown says he has nothing personal against the Knicks. Vern?
All right, Craig. P.J. Brown, Larry Johnson, in P.J. Brown's absence, gets the basket.
Yeah, now Larry Johnson is starting to turn it on offensively, and they really need the other guy as him so far.
Childs kicks that one out of bounds, a fresh 24 for the Miami Heat. The lead is 5. So Chris Dudley sits with 3 fouls for New York. P.J. Brown with 3 for Miami. Murdoch to Conley. Starks on Leonard. Entry pass to Mourning. Little turnaround. No.
See, Pat Riley wants him to face up first and then shoot. He said they're banging him so much that he loses his balance on his shot, and you can see it right there. Never had balance on that close shot.
Conlon on Cummings. Way off the mark.
Collins doing a nice job on Cummings. He's doing the same thing that Cummings is doing to Alonzo Mourning.
This one will be against the Knicks.
I want you to take a look at Alonzo Mourning. When he catches the ball, he's going to turn around, but when he's turning around, he's shooting at the same time, and he doesn't have his balance, though that was a good look right there, Vern. He has to make that one.
Here's Murdoch from Mashburn. Tim Hardaway back on the floor. Murdoch continues at the point. Here's Hardaway. That's the three. Here's Cummings. Childs, Starks calls for it. Childs settles for Larry Johnson. Alonzo Mourning guards him. About 4 moves. Back to Childs in the corner. Houston. Nope.
Boy, that was the easiest shot he's had tonight.
At the other end, Murdoch for 3. Mourning, offensive board, foul by Starks.
You know, we talk about everyone guarding Alonzo, when we should talk a little bit more about Alonzo guarding other guys. I mean, this is terrific jump defense. He has 2 fouls. He never left his feet.
Charles Oakley comes back on the floor, and Cummings will rest.
The problem here now is Charles Oakley has to guard Alonzo Mourning, and that does not allow him to roam anymore.
Back to Murdoch, and quickly the return pass. Here's Conlon, right side. Hardaway off the dribble, takes the jumper, and it's perfect.
You know, that one shot that Marty Conlon made forced John Starks to rotate, which made or left Tim Hardaway open. That one shot.
Lead is back to 7. Nice entry pass to Larry Johnson, who was fouled by Conlon. And Larry Johnson goes back to the free throw line. 5:51 to go, first half of play. Game 3, series tied at 1-1. The Miami Heat fell behind 2-0, but jumped out to a 7-point lead. It is a lead they have never lost, and it is 7 right now. Our coverage continues on TBS later tonight with the Sonics and the Wolves. Meanwhile, on TNT at 8 o'clock, Charlotte and Atlanta, their game 3. Charlotte up 2-0 in that one. And then from the West Coast, the Lakers go into Portland on TNT.
2 series can be closed out tonight. I think the one that surprises everyone is the Charlotte-Atlanta series. A lot of people thought Atlanta would sweep that series.
Here's Hardaway. This series tied at a game apiece. Here's Conlon. Back outside to Murdoch. Kicks it outside to Mashburn. That's a 3-er.
Mashburn makes the shot. Murdoch sets it up. Dribble penetration once again. Mashburn is having a good night.
Mashburn 3 of 3 for 7 points, and we've equaled the largest lead of the night at 8. Dan Gundy said, I know it was 2 months ago the last time he played here, but Mashburn had 22 points and 11 rebounds in that one.
Well, coaches never forget. The players try to forget the bad stuff. Oh, I don't know.
Goaltending.
I think Alonzo Mourning gave this away because once he hit the ball, he tried to take his hand away from it. I don't know if this was goaltending, but the way Alonzo acted, they almost had to call it. Well, that was close. That was real close. It was close enough to go either way, Vern, but Alonzo's reaction is what caused that goaltending.
Well, it was Allen Houston in the first period. Larry Johnson has now hit the last 10 New York points.
Well, Miami's playing terrific, but the Knicks are only down 5 points at home. Now you got to start thinking Jeff Van Gundy is feeling good about his team.
Starks on Hardaway. Johnson roams defensively. There's Oakley on Common. Mashburn from the corner. He's perfect.
You know, Jeff Van Gundy is thinking right now, I should not have talked about Mashburn. He told me not to talk about him. 4 for 9 points.
4.5 to go in the first half of play. Another Knick turnover. Nine turnovers in the first half of play. Here's Mashburn. Allen Houston out on him. Alonzo Mourning. Johnson fronts him, and Mourning gets loose underneath.
See, I don't like the front because the guy you're fronting is stronger than the guy. He can push him out. Alonzo's pushing him out. It's an easy pass for Miami.
And the Heat have their largest lead of the night, Doc.
Yeah, and Bird, they're putting no pressure on the guy passing the ball.
Allen Houston guarded by Mashburn now. Go back and watch Alonzo Mourning.
I mean, watch this. He pushes you out. He's so much bigger. Look at the space he creates. Great pass. They tell you to throw it to the corner of the backboard. It was right there. They want the big guy to go get it. He got it, and he laid it in. The only way you can make a pass that accurate is that there's no pressure on you throwing the ball in. It's one thing to front, but it's more importantly to put pressure on the guy passing the ball.
Allen Houston gets the first. This will be the 18th first-half free throw for the Knicks. Miami has been at the line 6 times.
Yeah.
So a decided disparity.
And people from Miami is saying home cooking. But no, I would say the difference is that the Knicks are attacking the basket a little bit more. Miami's are making a bunch of jump shots.
And there's another jump shot from Mashburn. His first miss tonight. Oakley clears it. 7-point game, 45-38, 3:40. Here's Starks. Off the dribble. Strong and a nice defensive play, but a foul is called under the basket.
Now, I don't know if I agree with that one. As a matter of fact, the official underneath didn't make that call. And that's 3 big fouls on Alonzo Mourning. And we're going to get a look here. There is contact here, but I don't know if John Starks could have made this shot. I think it's more of a bailout, and sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. That time, John Starks got it.
Well, from the Bureau of Missing Persons, we have now located Terry Mills.
Well, you know, Pat Riley's going deep on his bench. Marty Collins didn't play in the first 2 games. Now Terry Mills is it.
Terry Mills, big scorer with Detroit, but he's down there in the 9-10 spot on that bench, and Riley has to go for it.
Yeah, and this also tells you we will not be seeing Dan Marley tonight.
Dan Marley has his spot down at the end of the bench. Dan, herniated disc and a hernia and a pulled groin.
And one of those keeps most players out.
Right.
He's had all 3 and had just a phenomenal game 1.
Starks, 5-point game. Starks has 6. Mourning, 3 fouls on the bench. Here's Hardaway. Beauty.
He dribbled the ball all the way down court and laid it in. I guarantee you Ben Gundy will be showing film of that one. 6 for 9 for 12 points.
Charlie Ward to Houston. Kicks it outside. Ward. Johnson saves it, but goes it to Mashburn. Now throws it, and Hardaway gets it as Conlon saves it. At the other end, Deshaun Leonard. Here comes Larry Johnson for New York. A little sloppy right now.
Yeah, it is.
Underneath, got it. Nope, double dribble. Wow, Dick Bavetta made the call.
Yeah, it was a good call, and it was caused by the bad pass. It was a low pass that Larry Johnson couldn't get to. And you can see it here. Just couldn't handle the pass.
The NBA playoffs on TBS. Brought to you by Isuzu, builders of the completely reinvented 1998 Isuzu Rodeo. Isuzu, go farther. And by the Fannie Mae Foundation, showing America a new way home.
.47-40 Miami. Terry Cummings has made his way back to the locker room. Let's check in with Craig Sager.
Well, Bernie hobbled into the locker room, and right now it's the left side of his left foot, and they have called for an X-ray technician. X-rays will be required. Obviously, he's out for the half and probably out for the game, but we'll have to wait and see what the X-rays reveal. Vern.
That's the little pinky, left toe.
Yeah, and you know, people laugh because it is a toe, but I tell you, those things hurt, and they will keep you out. Boy, another injury for the Knicks. Amazing. And it's always a big guy.
Yeah, it's been Ewing and Dudley and Buck Williams. Buck Williams played in game 1, has not seen action tonight, but probably will now. Here's Leonard. And Rashawn Leonard will go to the free throw line.
You know, I was watching Pat Riley the entire time Rashawn Leonard was making that move, and he was just standing there clapping because Leonard was driving the ball. He's putting the ball on the floor.
Now, the stat that we chatted about in game 1, Riley, who keeps stats on the number of breaths each of these players
Boy,
take.
he does.
Said Rashawn Leonard had 1 drive for every 7 jump shots. Now, is that a real large margin of difference for a 2-guard?
Yeah, that is, because 2 guards, you need them to shoot and drive the basketball. Michael Jordan's a 2-guard, and he does both. Now, we can't compare anybody to Michael Jordan, but that's real nice to see Rashawn Leonard drive the basketball like that. He doesn't have to do it but a couple of times.
Rashawn Leonard, 14 in the first quarter. Now he's got 16 points, and the lead is back to 9. Equaling the largest lead of the game.
And again, they're doing this with Alonzo Mourning on the bench.
Another sloppy play that's out of bounds on New York.
What they're doing without Alonzo Mourning, they're putting more ball pressure on the Knicks, and the Knicks are turning the ball over.
12 first-half turnovers for New York. They had only 13 in their victory on Sunday. Here's Conley. Terry Mills, this is what he does best, and he misses that one. Allen Houston, 18 first quarter points. Kind of a quiet second stanza. Johnson backs in and Mills fouls him.
Well, he really hasn't taken any more shots, which I'm surprised at. And one of the reasons, honestly, is that Larry Johnson is playing well now, so they've decided to go to Larry Johnson. That's not a bad move.
Larry Johnson at the free throw line, 49-40.
But I look at the score of this game, and Miami has 49 points in the second quarter already.
Now, they were up by 20 at the half in the first victory. The score was tied on that 17-4 run at the end of the second quarter by the Knicks in their victory on Sunday.
And that one run, Jeff Van Gundy said, was the only reason we're in this series. It would be 2-0.
Jeff Van Gundy, who served as an assistant to Pat Riley. Those 2 men, once close, have not spoken since the fracas in Game 5 last May between the 2 teams.
Well, I don't think you can say their relationship is close anymore. I think you can say that they respect each other. Jeff Van Gundy appreciates Pat Riley helping him get the job in New York. But after that, all friendships are off.
Another foul on Miami. Well, the interesting thing is that Jeff Van Gundy's older brother, Stan Van Gundy, is an assistant coach to Riley at Miami, former head coach at Wisconsin, and he really has become the conduit exchanging information between the 2 men. Well, Stan.
If it wasn't for Stan Van Gundy, I would venture out to say Jeff Van Gundy and Pat Riley were not friends at all. And I think that relationship that Pat has with Jeff's brother has at least kept them civil with each other.
One more for Ward.
And I think Riley appreciates that. Riley thinks you cannot like your opponent. And that's one of his things that he teaches his players. So he preaches it and he lives it.
Oh, Jeff Van Gundy says we're trying to do the same thing. We're trying to win. Here's Hardaway. Penetration. Oakley comes over and got him.
Well, what Charles Oakley is saying is that Tim Hardaway had passed the ball already before they made contact, and it shouldn't have been a call. It was still contact. So I don't know why you don't. If it was contact, it's contact.
Later tonight, the Sonics and the Wolves on TBS. That's Game 3 in that series. It's tied at 1 apiece. And the Lakers and the Blazers. Game 3 from Portland on TNT, the second game of their doubleheader.
You know, another thing we haven't mentioned, with Miami having this lead, we're in Madison Square Garden and we can hear ourselves talk, and that's very pivotal.
Reverse layup, too strong. Rebound, Terry Mills. And a chance for the first double-digit lead of the night now for Miami with 50 seconds to play in the half. Hardaway for 3. Yes! Yes.
Boy, he is getting great looks at the basket, and most of them have been set up off pick and roll.
7 of 10 for Tim Hardaway tonight. That basket counts for Charlie Ward.
Well, look at Tim, and watch him coming off this pick and roll. He knows what is on the clock. Shoots it easy, really all late, hands in the face. You don't get a hand in his face when he's feeling it. He's going to make it.
Free throw woes continue for the New York Knicks. Coming up on the Nike halftime report, Kenny Smith and Muggsy Bogues will join Ernie Johnson in our Atlanta studios. Scores and highlights from tonight and a preview of the game still to come. Here's Conlon.
Oh, my. Big lift. There's no coincidence that he has stayed on the court since he's come in. Pat Riley sees he's playing well. I'm going to leave him out there. I guarantee you that wasn't in the game plan.
The Miami Heat with Alonzo Mourning on the bench for much of this half with 3 fouls. From the corner, here's Childs. They lead by 12 in an arena in which they have won only 3 games. Last time, of course, was Game 6 in the playoffs on May 16th. That one puts an asterisk by it because Ward, Houston, and Ewing sat out with suspensions for the New York Knicks. But Miami up by 12 at the break.
"24 minutes down at the Garden, and the Knicks are down by 12 to Miami here on TBS, to be followed by the Sonics and Timberwolves. Meantime, on TNT, the Hawks and Hornets playing right now with Atlanta out to an early lead, to be followed by the Lakers and the Blazers on TNT. We welcome you to our Atlanta studio and the Nike halftime report. I'm Ernie Johnson, joined once again tonight by Kenny Smith, and we welcome Tyrone Muggsy Bogues to the studio here on TBS. Good to see you.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Seeing one of your point guards in this league who's really top-notch, Tim Hardaway, doing his thing in the first half of this ballgame.
Well, Tim Hardaway is a very versatile type of player for his size. I mean, he can shoot the jump shot, but he also can take you down low. And I think that's a very good weapon for Miami, especially when Alonzo Mourning on the bench. Here, Charlie Ward is guarding him. You got Oakley coming over, but Tim Hardaway still hits the jump shot. That's how versatile he is.
Yeah, people kind of laughed earlier when Pat Riley at one point said, well, our only post-up guy now because of injuries is Tim Hardaway, and reporters laughed. He is. He will take you down there on the block. He has got 17 in the first half. Meantime, the Knicks have lost some games at home this year, Kenny. You know, it's not that rare. In fact, Golden State with Muggsy beat them one time.
I remember that, and Muggsy had a great shot in that game.
Could be one of the shots of the year right here.
I mean, we know he can drive. Everybody's trying to stop him for the drive, but he gets caught up and jammed, and he throws the lefty. He steals it from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We didn't know he had such a multitude of arsenal. Offensive arsenal.
Yeah, where did that thing come from, Muggs?
It came from a hip. You know about that. You know, that's
I never saw that in Wake Forest. When we played them in North Carolina, I never seen that.
We've had a lot of ACC flavor in here, I tell you what. Meantime, later on tonight, we're going to see the Lakers playing on TNT. This is a kind of a team that Kenny Smith kind of likes out there coming out of the West. Who do you like coming out of the West, Muggsy?
Well, I like the Lakers as well, and Utah is a team. But, you know, Minnesota's a young team right now, and they got a lot of confidence going into the night's game against Seattle, coming off a big win at Seattle, and that says a lot for their organization. And with Flip, give him all the coaching credit in the world for him changing that lineup, putting them in a position to go up in the series.
First night in the studio, he's already doing the segues, because coming up next on the Nike halftime report, we're going to go out west and take a look at that Minnesota-Seattle series. How good is this guy, huh? Kevin Garnett and the Timberwolves stealing a game at Key Arena, coming home to Target to take on the Sonics. Preview coming up. And welcome back to the Nike Halftime Report. Tomorrow night on our sister network, TNT, the Bulls and the Nets can Chicago sweep. Meantime, Game 3 of the Jazz and the Rockets from the Compaq Center in Houston. One game on TBS tomorrow night. That's the Suns and the Spurs. San Antonio can close out Phoenix with a win. Still to come tonight on TBS, Game 3 in the Seattle-Minnesota series. Now, many thought the Sonics, the number 2 seed in the West, would have a 2-zip lead by this point. Didn't happen. 1-1 with a change of venue. The next 2 at the Target Center in Minneapolis. And we get a preview from Mike Gorman and Jack Givens.
Game 1 of this Western Conference Series was a day at the beach for Vin Baker and company. The outside jump shots were falling for Gary Payton, and Baker in his initial playoff game had 25 points, seemingly scored at will, and the Sonics rolled by 25, and the Timberwolves had a lot to think about. Well, think they did. They came out with intensity in Game 2, both on the defensive end and on the offensive end, where it was Stephon Marbury's turn to shine. He had 25. Gary Payton had the headaches, and remarkably enough, this series is tied at 1 game apiece. The young and brash Timberwolves are making some headlines here in the NBA playoffs. And Game 3 is about to come your way from what will be a very, very loud Target Center, as the Sonics and the Timberwolves will be getting together in just about an hour or so. And, you know, this place is really going to be rocking. Emotions will be running high. In fact, this whole series, Jack, has been an emotional roller coaster.
Well, Mike, emotions can work either way, that's for sure. And I know with the way Minnesota played in Game 2, they feel real good about themselves. And as a matter of fact, controlling those emotions might be their toughest challenge here early in this ball game. They feel good about themselves, and they should. They have a style that works for them. Small ball has come here to Minneapolis, and they feel very seriously they can win this series. As far as Seattle is concerned, well, the ghost of playoffs past is once again reared its ugly head in Seattle, and instead of leaving there up 2, which most people think they should be, they find themselves deadlocked 1-1, and they have to once again answer questions. Can they do away with another first-round opponent?
A good news, bad news situation for the young Timberwolves here tonight. The good news, of course, they're home. The building will be rocking. The bad news is, Jack, they have lost 15 straight games to the Sonics on this floor. Let's go back to the studio now and Ernie.
All right, thank you, Mike and Goose. Been a long time coming for the Minnesota Timberwolves, just completing their 9th season, 2nd time in the playoffs, losing 505 games out of 743, going through 78 players in those 9 years, getting that first playoff win in Seattle the other night. Now, if you're on the Sonics side tonight and you're going into the Target Center, Kevin Garnett said it's going to be a zoo called the Zookeepers, everybody else, because it's going to be wild. How do you stay inside your game and not get carried away with all the stuff going on there?
Well, I think Seattle's a veteran team. They understand what they're about to get themselves into. So they got to come out with a lot of poise and just take advantage of some of the mismatch that that Minnesota gave them at Game 2 in Seattle. I think by making some adjustment, looking at film, I think they'll do a much better job.
Kenny, can you get too geeked if you're the home team here and you hear all this stuff going on?
If you're the home team and you're young like Minnesota, you might get a little bit too geeked, and I think that's what they really have to be careful of. You got a lot of young guys. This is their first playoff win. Not to get too excited because it's a 5-game series.
It's Game 2 of our TBS doubleheader tonight, Seattle at Minnesota. Back to put the finishing touch on the Nike Halftime Report with Muggsy and Kenny after this. Welcome back here on TBS. Miami up 12 over New York at the Garden. Meantime, if you flick the TNT right now, you would see they're in a timeout with Atlanta on top of Charlotte 21-13 in the first period. Remember, late tonight, Inside the NBA wraps up the entire evening as Ike Austin joins Vince Cellini for Inside the NBA. For all the latest on the NBA playoffs and every sport for that matter, the ultimate address for sports is cnnsi.com. Back to the Garden for the third quarter in just a minute.
This program is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the National Basketball Association. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited.
Welcome back to Manhattan. Game number 3, first-round playoff series between the Miami Heat and the New York Knicks. We came in tied at 1. The Miami Heat have shot extremely well and find themselves with a 12-point halftime lead, 56-44 in the first of 2 games to be played here. Allen Houston had 18 of his 22 in the first quarter of play. But look at the effort of Hardaway, Leonard, and Mashburn offensively, 16 of 22 and a total of 42 points. Right now, let's check in with Craig Sager.
The 10 teams of the WNBA will hold their draft tomorrow. The top pick goes to the Utah Stars. I'm with the leading scorer in the nation, Allison Feaster. Now, I know you're a smart kid, a degree in economics from Harvard. When you go to Harvard, do you ever think you'd come out of there and play professional basketball for a living in this country?
Absolutely not. And I'm just very lucky. Like, the timing's so right for me right now. I mean, it's a great atmosphere for women's basketball, and the WNBA was my choice, and I think I'm going to have a great season.
The Charlotte Sting, near your hometown, has a team. Would that be your first choice if you got to choose?
I am so privileged. I mean, so lucky to be considered for the draft. I mean, I would go anywhere. I have no preference whatsoever.
All right, what do you plan to do after basketball along with it?
I don't see an end to basketball quite yet. Hopefully I can play for as long as possible. But I had a job at Merrill Lynch as an equities analyst if things didn't work out. So luckily things will work out.
Good luck. We look forward to seeing you next year. And by the way, Doc, she averaged 28.5 points a game this year.
Wow. Thanks, Craig. Isn't youth nice? You can't see the end of basketball ever.
Yeah, that's nice. And she went to Harvard.
Absolutely. Let's. What's your take on what's going on here? Alonzo Mourning, limited minutes, and his team has scored 56 points.
Well, I think Hardaway 17 points, 5 assists, 1 turnover. Rashawn Leonard had 16 points. Mashburn had 9. But I think the Heat shooting 58% is huge.
Looks like Charlotte the other night.
Yeah, it is. And
can they keep that up, Doc?
No, you don't expect them to. And you know the Knicks can't shoot that well. So you expect this second half to be much slower than it was in the first. And the only way the Knicks can get involved or back into this game, they have to slow Tim Hardaway down.
Think about this. Allen Houston and his teammates down by 12. This is a New York team that yielded an average of less than 90 points per game. And in 3 games against Miami now, 50 and 56.
Yeah, all high first half, but then the game comes to a halt. And we're looking at the numbers. No one's guarding Allen Houston very well. No one's guarding Tim Hardaway very well. Both of these guys are having big games. I think the biggest difference is Allen Houston has 22 points, but only 1 assist. Tim Hardaway has 17 points and 5 assists and 1 turnover. And I think those 5 assists is more important.
Charlie Ward back to apply a little pressure as we get set with the third quarter of play. Ward follows Hardaway as he comes across the midcourt line. Here's Jamal Mashburn. Chris Mills seeing his first action tonight. So Van Gundy has gone back to the lineup that served him in the first 2 games. Mourning offensive board, swatted away by Mills. Leonard gets the bounce and puts it up off the glass.
But once again, Rashawn Leonard is getting wide open looks. He is a terrific shooter. He's not going to miss those looks.
14-point lead. Hardaway guards Ward. Leonard picks up Chris Mills. Here's Houston. And Larry Johnson, P.J. Brown plays him with 3 fouls. Larry Johnson right there.
Well, that's a smart move by Jeff Van Gundy coming out of the half. He knows P.J. Brown has 3 fouls. You go right at him. You try to pick up that 4th foul.
Word from the locker room for the New York Knicks, the x-rays on Terry Cummings' small toe on his left foot were negative. He will try to return it.
You know, Cummings care less about that x-ray. He knows his foot's hurt, and he doesn't know why.
Mashburn, P.J. Brown with a jumper. Chris Mills with a rebound. As New York looks for a spark, here's Ward to Mills and Oakley. Go back to Larry Johnson. Illegal defense.
You know what's missing in this game, Vern, for the New York Knicks? Before game 1, Pat Riley said we're going to take away Charles Oakley's little short jump shots. He has not taken one today.
And he had that ineffective game Sunday. He was 2 for 11 in the victory. Allen Houston.
You watch his touch. That's a tough shot, moving, and he hits the rim and it falls in. 8 for 10, 24 points.
And a Miami turnover. Hardaway, Mourning, P.J. Brown, Jamal Mashburn, and Rashawn Leonard. That's for Miami. It's Charlie Ward, Johnson, Chris Mills, Oakley, and Allen Houston for New York. Larry Johnson, and they'll run the isolation again. The double comes from Hardaway. Hardaway or Brown, which one?
Well, I think it's going to go to P.J. Brown, and it was almost a mistake foul because Larry Johnson lost his balance, and when he lost his balance, he fell right into P.J. Brown's arms. That's how P.J. Brown picked up the foul.
P.J. Brown will set. Marty Conlon had an effective second quarter. He comes on to replace P.J. Brown.
Well, in the first half, they didn't lose much. Marty Conlon had a nice first half.
Allen Houston, Mashburn. Houston gets it to Johnson. And they go right to work on Conlon. Double team. Back it goes to Larry Johnson. Double team comes again. Rejected by Mourning. Oakley into the stands.
That's the difference of having Alonzo Mourning on the court and off the court. When the defense breaks down for Miami, you have Alonzo Mourning to erase the mistakes. Charles Oakley went in hard.
Asked if he's okay, he's going to head toward the bench. Mike Saunders, Nick Trainer, starts this way.
There is a hush in this arena because that's their heart. Though he has not had one shot or one free throw in this entire game.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. And, you know, Pat Riley said in 22 minutes, no shots, no rebounds. And he told us before game one, we know Allen Houston is important, but we think Charles Oakley is just as important, and we're going to take away those open looks. That's like having a hit out on you. I mean, you have no shots. Wow.
10-point game, 9:45 to go, third quarter. Game 3 of the series that is tied 1-1. Oakley takes it away from Mourning. Charlie Ward. Hardaway picks him up. They go right back to Larry Johnson. Now here's Oakley's first shot tonight.
There it is. You can see how important it is because Pat Riley jumped off and called a timeout immediately.
'22nd timeout. They pull the plug on a 6-0 run.
You know what's interesting? I was watching Alonzo Mourning go in the huddle, and he puts his hands up at Riley and said, "I'm sorry, I know." That is all about Charles Oakley. They do not want him to get off because if he starts making that shot, that takes Alonzo Mourning away from the buckets to defend.
13th season, he's never missed a playoff or a playoff game. And he has had a wonderfully consistent season.
Yeah, he really has, especially when you think where he's played. Charles Oakley is not a center. He's a power forward who is undersized at the power forward position.
But in the absence of Patrick Ewing, who on that December 20th, in the absence of Buck Williams, in the absence of Chris Dudley, Charles Oakley has played the 5 spot.
Yeah, he's done quite well. They still like him better at the 4.
And he likes him better.
Yeah, he does.
As I think he told you that.
Yeah, he did. He said he really does not like playing the 5 spot.
Rashawn Leonard, Houston's outliving. So Leonard takes it to the basket and gets it.
Yes, that is so important because you have to honor his shot. All he has to do is show the ball, and he can go to the bucket.
Oakley sets the pick for Houston now. Rashawn Leonard, 7 of 9 from the field. Here's Houston. Chris Mills got it.
Well, Jeff Van Gundy would love that because one of the reasons Chris Dudley was starting is because Mills has not been playing well. Great defense again.
Clean block Knicks. Ward for 3. Tip. Mills keeps it alive. Back to Ward. Right side Houston. That's for 3.
Riley is furious.
Van Gundy is energized.
And the crowd is back.
Could it be that it was ignited by Oakley's dive in the stands? It helped.
It sure did. It was an energy play. I mean, look at the defense here. Charles Oakley at the last second getting the ball. That's why there was no foul, because the ball was already out of Alonzo's hands.
Lead has been cut to 5 on this 11-2 run. Here's Mourning into the hands of Rashawn Leonard. Marty Condon sets the pick on Houston. It was a good one, and the switch. The foul will be called on Chris Mills.
Well, Vern, you hit it right. Marty Condon. That was a terrific pick. He's freeing some people up tonight.
Mashburn will inbound for the Miami Heat. 8:05 to go third quarter. 5-point game. Charlie Ward works on Hardaway. There's another screen, the switch. Ward goes for the steal. Picked up by Hardaway. 10 on the shot clock. Hardaway.
Oh, but a big foul.
And 3 free throws coming.
Big foul.
Now, one of the pivotal moments in Sunday's game. 7 minutes to go and a 3-point deficit. Hardaway went to the line for 3 and missed the first
two. Yeah, now he has another opportunity. You know the problem on that play right there? Ward had the steal and really didn't go after it. He didn't think he could get it. Then he got his hands on it, and he went after it too late. Hardaway being smart just raises, and that is a good call. Right on the arm.
Hardaway got the first, and he shoots 2 more. This time he makes the first 2.
You know what else this does? This gives him some rhythm shooting. You know, you're sitting there. This is like warming up. You get 3 shots at the bucket.
And you make all 3.
Yeah. I would not want to. You got to stay close to him because his next shot will be in rhythm.
Back to an 8-point Bulls for the Miami Heat. Larry Johnson battles Conley for position.
And look where he's caught the ball.
Way out.
Yeah.
Nice ball rotation. Mills in the corner. Alonzo Mourning rotates. They kick it over to Charlie Ward. The tip is good.
I'll tell you what. I don't know what was spilled on Charles Oakley when he went in the stands, but it sure made him more aggressive.
Oakley, a jumper and a tip. And this foul would be against the Knicks as well. Charlie Ward called for the foul.
Well, just like Allen Houston thinks he can get his shot off whenever he wants to, Tim Hardaway thinks he can get his shot off whenever he wants to also.
Here's Hardaway and Ward. Rashawn Leonard drives it. Good defense. Conley can't hold on. That's a turnover, Miami.
Yeah, Rashawn Leonard had an open path and changed his shot. If he had went straight to it, he makes it.
7 to go in the third. Miami up by 6.
The NBA playoffs on TBS, brought to you by Dutch Boy Paints. Give your home the lasting look of Dutch Boy. And by GMC, putting you comfortably in command.
14-point margin cut to 6 now, and Charles Oakley with a big part of that.
Yeah, and he does it with energy. He's not a guy, he's not a pretty basketball player. He makes open jump shots, which I thought was huge. But I thought that was the biggest play of the game so far, is Charles Oakley going into the crowd. I think that it energized the crowd, and it energized his team.
So with 7 to go in the third quarter, Van Gundy has his team gathered around. Riley has sent his 5 back on the floor. And a 6-point game, 63-57, game 4 in this series here at the Garden on Thursday night. Doc and I will be here for that one as well. And should there be a game 5, it'll be back in Miami on NBC on Sunday. 63-57. Ward Hardaway. Mourning goes for it, gets it. Puts it in the hands of Hardaway. Oakley is back. Rashawn Leonard slipped and is very slow getting up. Now Mashburn sets the pick. Hardaway guarded by Ward. Up, short, follow, Mourning.
Yeah, but the move that Tim Hardaway put on Ward to get open. Oakley has to help. It frees up Mourning. He gets an easy tip. Tim Hardaway right now can get his shot off whenever he wants.
Alonzo Mourning limited because of foul trouble to 6 points. Leonard and Hardaway with 20 each for Miami. And Jamal Mashburn just got his 3rd foul of the game.
Yeah, but the reason Mashburn is now guarding Allen Houston is because he's bigger. They want someone to put a hand in Houston's face. In the first half, he was shooting over Leonard and Askins. Now it's Mashburn's task.
And again, Dan Marley unable to go tonight because of the groin pull. Here's Allen Houston and Mashburn.
Yeah. Now what Houston's doing, he said, okay, you're bigger than me, but I'm quicker than you. And so he goes around him, and he hand checks, and you get a foul.
And the 4th foul on Mashburn.
The bottom line, he's tough to guard.
Yep.
That's the simplest way of putting it. He is a handful, and Tim Hardaway's a handful.
Here's Houston on the out-of-bounds play. Rashawn Leonard switches on him.
So now he can shoot over.
Back it goes to Chris Mills. Mashburn, Mills, no. Conlon and Mourning battle for it, and that's going to be out of bounds on Alonzo Mourning. I'm not sure if he's angry at Conlon or just
I think
misfortune.
The whole thing.
Okay.
Because he probably thought that was Oakley on his back. When he turned around and saw Marty Conlon, I don't think that made him happy.
5:44 to go. Into Oakley. Oh. Out of bounds.
Another unforced error.
14 turnovers, New York.
And only 5 steals from Miami. So it's not like they're stealing the ball to make the turnovers. It's their pressure defense and the Knicks just not taking care of the basketball.
Conlon drives on Larry Johnson and stepped on the line. So there's another error for Miami.
Pat Riley just looked at Marty Conlon and said, pass the ball. You're doing fine, son. Just pass the ball.
And Riley is going to Keith Askins, getting ready to bring him in. 5:20 to go, third quarter. Houston. Air ball.
Nice defense from Rashawn Leonard. Caught him for position and contested the shot.
And this one will go against the Knicks down on the low post. Charles Oakley with the foul. Now let's get you updated on the foul problems. P.J. Brown and Mashburn with 4 apiece. Conlon, Mills, Mourning with 3. Dudley, Starks, and Ward with 3 from New York.
Yeah, and I think that Brown, Mashburn, and Alonzo Mourning are of concern for Miami.
Rashawn Leonard.
He is having a terrific game. Now, in game 1, he had a big first half. In game 2, he did too. But right now, he's doing it in game 3 and in the second half. 8 of 11, 22 points.
And the lead back to 10 as Hardaway picks up this foul. John Starks and Chris Childs come on the floor for the New York Knicks.
But as we predicted, the game has slowed quite a bit. The scoring is not the running up and down. It's a half-court physical game, and every single one of these games turned into this.
Mashburn hit his first 4 shots, hasn't scored in the last 12 minutes, and now sits with 4 fouls. Here's Starks. Beautiful pass for John Starks. Finds Childs underneath the basket.
Well, Pat Riley said right when Allen Houston goes out of the game, they have pick-and-roll contests for John Starks and Chris Childs. And that's where the Knicks offense is going to have to come from. Also, Larry Johnson.
Here's Mourning. Nope. Childs with a Knick rebound. Back it goes to Oakley for that jumper, and he got another one.
Yeah, that's his second one. Twice, Charles Oakley has made jump shots. Twice, Pat Riley has called timeout.
And an exasperated Alonzo Mourning a little slow getting up.
I mean, Charles Oakley can make this shot. The Knicks need him to take it.
Charles Oakley with a couple of jumpers here in the last 3 minutes, the last causing Pat Riley to call timeout. 13 years in this league, and he's learned a thing or two, especially about flops, or flops, plural. If you look it up in the dictionary, you'll see to fall or foul down as a second example. And then you could also look under Bill Moss, the football player, or Doc Rivers, or a movie. And if you think you have seen flops, here's one of the best ever, Doc.
This is an amazing one. It's like a delay reaction. Watch this. That's pretty good right there. Oh, my. My.
That's an all-time Luganis.
That is. And I hope he fooled no one with that one.
4-minute mark, third quarter. Hardaway starts. Off the dribble, Oakley comes to help. And Conlon misses the layup. Here's Childs quickly at the other end. Goes baseline and steps on the line. Whoa!
Oh, they call
double dribble.
Wow, I haven't seen that call in quite some time.
And we've had 2 tonight.
You know, you call a double dribble at the park, that's a fight. No one believes they ever double dribble. Wow.
Eric Murdoch off the bench now for New York. He's guarded by Chris Childs. Underneath, Mourning tipped it out of bounds.
You know what? He was there. He was there. I mean, look at this. Here's the double dribble. Yes, that is a double dribble. He knew it. He tried to get away with it.
Hardaway on Childs, 6-point game.
Well, that's a great shot.
Whoa. You don't think you'll hear about that one. Larry Johnson stripped by Hardaway.
Nice defense. Nice help defense.
And at the other end, Hardaway penetrates in and out. He'll go to the free throw line.
You know what? Tim Hardaway has decided to take this game over. And usually he does it on the offensive end. Watch the expression on Larry Johnson's face. He thinks he has an open look. Probably relaxed a little bit. Like, who was that? That was Tim Hardaway.
And now Hardaway at the line as Chris Childs gets his third foul tonight.
In game 2, they talked about Tim Hardaway, and they said he ran out of gas at the end of the game. You see him miss that free throw, and you have to start thinking, I can't believe a guy on the Pat Riley team can ever run out of gas.
7-point game. Starks gets the screen from Larry Johnson, penetrates, kicks it back into the hands of Eric Murdoch, and Miami will now run. Here's Murdoch in the corner for Hardaway. He drives all the way, and Charles Oakley has it taken away again. Hardaway short with a shot. New York ball.
Well, I tell you what, if this is not the smartest crowd in the NBA, I want to see it. When you heard the crowd reaction, they were yelling that Tim Hardaway was open. They were trying to point it out to the players. Oh, Tim Hardaway is everywhere. He misses a easy bunny right there. And you know what? Oh, they call a foul on the play. Because I was going to say, that's a bad call.
Yep. New York, 5 turnovers in the last 5 minutes. And the foul was called on Conlon, his 4th. First of 2 games tonight. Coming up next on TBS, the Sonics and the Wolves. Game 3 of that series that is tied 1-1.
Terry Porter started the other night and gave a huge effort, 17 points average in that series. That's pretty good.
Childs, one more. First free throws of this quarter for New York. They had 25 in the first half.
You know, Pat Riley is thinking that we are really playing well, we meaning the Miami Heat, yet you're only up 5 points.
Riley looks on. Here's
you can see Oakley and Mourning. And what they're trying to do is get their arms above the other guy's arm. And the reason being because when the ball goes up, you can hold it up. I mean, look at this. I think Oakley's going to dive in a pool or something.
It looks like he's getting ready for a back jackknife.
Golly.
Illegal defense was called against New York. Their second, so Hardaway hits the technical foul.
I mean, you can see these two guys putting their arms. What they're trying to do is get the advantage. And it's always been said as a rebounder, if you can have your arm above the other guys, you can hold them off. Both of these guys are great rebounders. They know that.
Childs guarding Eric Murdoch. Hardaway with Starks defending. Out to Murdoch. Traveling.
Yeah. But again, because he can shoot, you have to run at him hard, and he puts the ball on the floor.
2:17 to go, third quarter, game 3. Pat Riley said this morning he expected this one to go down to the wire.
Yeah, he did. He said one of these games will be close, and the winner of that game wins the series.
Here's Starks. Murdoch comes out. And look at Conlon force Johnson way outside. Johnson, however, goes baseline and says, here.
I'm quicker, is what Larry Johnson said. That was a response to the physical play to Marty Conlon.
Margin is 4. It was 14. Johnson has 16 points tonight. LeSean Leonard. Oh, boy. What a huge shot.
He was open again. pick, Marty Conlon.
A new career high for Vashawn Leonard in the playoffs. 26 points tonight, 9 of 12. Starks. Pick and roll with Johnson. Mourning switches. The tip no good, and a loose ball foul against Miami. Alonzo Mourning.
This is the most aggressive basketball that I've ever seen Larry Johnson play, ever. Even when he had a good back. I mean, this is amazing. He is going right at Alonzo.
Before you watch Larry Johnson shoot free throws, watch this clutch three-pointer from Vashawn Leonard.
Yeah, I don't think Chris Mills ever thought he was going to take that shot. And then look at Larry Johnson's drive. Watch the spin move. I mean, this is quick. He is attacking the basket.
And now Johnson at the free throw line. 1:16 to go, third quarter. Terry Mills back on the floor. Alonzo Mourning becomes the third member of the Heat with 3 fouls. He's joined by Mashburn, or 4 fouls. Mashburn and P.J. Brown.
Well, I think this 1:16 left in this third quarter is key for Miami. You have Alonzo out, you have Mashburn out, you have P.J. Brown out. Who's going to score points for you? Tim Hardaway, Vashawn Leonard, Eric Murdoch.
Miami led by 12 at the half. They were up by 14 about 4 minutes ago. The New York Knicks have clawed back to within 5. Here's Terry Mills in the low post, guarded by Johnson. And Johnson with terrific defense. Knicks, John Starks. Here's Chris Childs. Johnson calls for it. Mills guards him now. Isolation. Hardaway comes with a double. Too strong. Mills rebound. Miami.
Yeah, but that's a stop, and Miami just needs the clock to move. They want to get to the fourth quarter with this lead. So now they're going to use more clock up. Smart basketball.
They're up by 5. Vashawn Leonard, 26 points tonight. Conlon, great screen.
Another great pick, Marty Conlon. That's 2 big picks in a row. Now, Vashawn Leonard has to make the shot, and he is.
That was for 2, and the lead is 7.
Well, Riley told me this morning we need another guy. They have it. Vashawn Leonard's been huge.
Starks all the way. Conlon with the defensive play. At the buzzer. Almost went. Pat Riley said in game 2 we got hit with a barrage. This time Vashawn Leonard supplies the barrage. 28 points, 12 in the quarter. The Heat were up by 14. They lead by 7 at the end of 3. Welcome back to the Garden, Madison Square Garden in New York City. Game 3, this best-of-5 series in the first round. And the Miami Heat fell behind 2-0, jumped on top 4-2, and have not trailed. And we've got some new technology that we're going to apply to this ball game. You sometimes wonder how high these players do jump in the course of a game. Well, John Starks going up for that rebound, 6 feet tall. The jump meter says he went up a little more than 2 feet to grab the ball.
I think John is thinking I can jump higher than that. That's still pretty good.
Best jumper ever? Who do you think?
Dominique Wilkins.
David Thompson?
Pretty good.
Yeah. Dominique. Dr. J.
Jordan's not bad.
No. Good point by you.
Actually, Spud Webb.
There's Leonard. 28 points so far tonight. Mismatch. Eric Murdoch. Picked up by Childs. 3 on the shot clock.
Oh, Murdoch. He's just a joy to watch. I mean, he goes every single time to the basket.
Terry Cummings playing with a bruised small toe on his left foot, taken in for x-rays midway through the second quarter. The x-rays negative, but I'm sure it still hurts.
Yeah, but he's looking at this score. Jeff Van Gundy is looking at this score, and he's saying we must win now.
Dudley picked up those 3 first quarter fouls. Haven't seen him since.
You know, it's interesting. If you read the newspapers, everyone was saying this was a must-win for Miami. And I took the other take. I think this is a must-win for New York. Miami's coming into this 2-game series looking for one victory. If they win tonight, then they are looking at it, hey, we have 2 games now, and one will definitely be back in Miami to win one.
Yep. Lead is 9.
Game 3 in a 5-game series is like Game 5 in a 7-game series.
Childs looks for Oakley. The lead was 4. Now it's 9. And that's a turnover? No, it's not.
I think this is the key time in the game for the Knicks.
And they have Cummings and Oakley, Houston Starks, and Chris Childs on the floor. Starks. Well, the magic that came back for him on Sunday, not there tonight.
Well, that was a tough shot. There's only 4 seconds left on the shot clock. But again, he's not scoring well right now. In the second half, we really haven't seen a lot of Allen Houston. So who's going to score the points for the Knicks? Miami, everyone has been in the act.
Hardaway has 21. Deshaun Leonard with 28. Marty Conlon. That one's underneath and out of bounds off P.J. Brown.
Yeah, that was a nice pass from Marty Conlon.
Alonzo Mourning starts on the court. He's not going to be allowed on the court.
Well, when Alonzo Mourning is saying, I was in the box and you should let me in, I think what happened, he was fooling with his mask trying to get in the game and didn't get into the box. And you know, if you're on the road, the last thing the guy at the table is going to do is blow that horn. He's going to wait until you're in the box.
Giles dishes, kicks. Allen Houston air ball. Saved by Murdoch.
See, that's an air ball from not having shots. You got to get your shooter the ball, at least get it in his hand.
Murdoch back to Conlon. There's that awkward shot off the front rim. And the offensive board for Murdoch.
Yeah. Kept alive by P.J. Brown.
Conlon. Hardaway goes right this time. And John Starks picks up the foul. Now Alonzo Mourning is back and Marty Conlon sits.
So Miami all game, Alonzo Mourning's been in foul trouble, yet they have the lead. And they're on the road. I think that's huge. And the credit goes to Deshaun Leonard.
Leonard leads Miami with 28 points tonight. Had a huge first quarter, kind of quiet second, and then a big third.
He's had a quiet season against the Knicks. He comes into this series shooting 29%.
Yeah, and his per-game average was down to 8 in the 4 regular season games between these two. 5 fouls on John Starks.
Well, John Starks is getting a little frustrated right now, so it's not a bad thing for Jeff Van Gundy to take him out anyway. But the crowd senses what's going on right now. It is extremely quiet in this building.
Here's P.J. Brown. Nope. Mills with a rebound. Childs off the dribble. He'll go to the free throw line.
Well, he went right at Alonzo Mourning.
Either Mourning or P.J. Brown is about to pick up their 5th. It's P.J. Brown.
He's giving us a message that is true. You know, we are better than this team, but their effort and energy is better than ours. You know, we better than them. We feel that we have a lot more energy than they have. We got better players on our team than they have, and we just got to go out there and show that.
Tonight the guards have, Doc.
Oh, they really have. And Tim Hardaway all night has played like nobody can guard me. I think Deshaun Leonard's play has been even more significant because he's not only shooting jump shots, Vern, he's taking the ball to the basket and scoring, and just has had a terrific game. Guard play from Miami has been the key.
Miami Heat advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals last year where they lost to Chicago. They have not played well in the playoffs on the road. They are 2-13 playoffs.
Well, really, no one plays well in the playoffs on the road.
Right.
So
good point again.
You know, they're in a class of many.
And Childs misses the free throw. Well, the comedians aren't laughing tonight. There's Rick Moranis.
That's because a lot of the comedians are from New York.
Robert Klein.
New York.
That guy.
Woody. New York.
Kind of somber along Comedians Row.
Yes. They're that cracking anyone up right now.
76-68, 9:43 to go. Askins on the floor. Foul away from the ball.
Well, it's on Terry Cummins. I mean, Terry Cummins right now is thinking, my foot hurts. I can't move with you, so I'll just pound you. And he's fighting for position. Oh, my. I bet Alonzo Mourning can't wait to get away from these guys.
9:30 to go in regulation. 76-68. Miami. Hardaway. Yes!
Boy, is he a big-time player. You knew after game 2 he was steaming because he didn't play well. He felt he let his team down.
He got the message, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Allen Houston, huge first quarter, quiet since. Childs. Hardaway defending. Childs goes over in for 2. And there are 9 minutes remaining.
Knicks still hanging around. And in this building, you got to assume at some point they'll make a run. But they're not going to make a run the way the guards are shooting right now.
Murdoch and Hardaway at the guard position right now, joined by Askins, Alonzo Mourning, and Jamal Mashburn. Houston out on Hardaway. Crossover dribble. And the shot.
No, if that goes in, he's real hot.
Now Patrick Ewing can still smile in the middle of it.
Yeah, Tim Hardaway the whole time knows exactly what he's going to do here. You can see him setting up for the jump shot. He wants to get Houston back on his heels. He does. Bang.
8.5 to go, 9-point difference. Houston pops out, guarded by Keith Askins. Larry Johnson, and Mashburn guards him. Hardaway comes with a double team. Johnson back to Mills. That's for 3. Big shot.
Should have shot the first one. Knew he was going to shoot the second. Of note, Keith Askins has done a fine job on Allen Houston in the second half.
Pat Riley's going to make a move for Deshaun Leonard. Here's Mourning and Oakley. And Oakley gets tagged.
Alonzo Mourning is slowly starting to show low post dominance. And with this lead down the stretch, that is going to be very important. But look where he catches it, Vern. He catches it with 1 foot in the paint. With his size advantage, that can't be allowed from the Knicks.
Mourning with 6 points tonight.
Yeah, and in game 1 he struggled, but they won. Game 2, he had a huge night, and they lost. Can you figure this game out?
No.
Me either. There's no expert.
Hardaway and Murdoch at the guards. Askin, Mourning, and Mashburn on the floor for Miami. Oakley picked up his 4th foul. 1 of 2 for Alonzo Mourning. Childs, Murdoch. Askins on Houston for 3. 2 is inside the line.
Yeah, I tell you what, Askins doing a nice job. And they're going to need Allen Houston big like he was in the first quarter.
18 first quarter points, 9 in the subsequent 2.5. Alonzo Mourning, 5 fouls.
Yeah, I think it was Chris Dudley getting under his skin. Here, Charles Oakley, Vern.
7:21 remaining in regulation. The lead for Miami is 7. And now it's time to take a look at tonight's Dutch boy in the paint. New York Knicks had a rebounding edge in the first 2 games, and they have an edge of 1 tonight. But Deshaun Leonard has helped lead Miami to a lead right now. Over the course of the 4 regular season games, New York had a +3 rebound margin. And look, they were up 7 and 6 in the 2 games in Miami. That without Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. But, you know, tonight, we looked at in the paint. The Knicks might be winning the in the paint war, but out the paint, it's all Miami.
Yeah. The perimeter play from the Leonard-Hardaway tandem underneath the Larry Johnson. Tries to go baseline, kicks it out. And Eric Murdoch fights Oakley, and it's going to be on Oakley.
Yeah, it is. Oakley held off. Another turnover for the Knicks. Either every time the Knicks make a run, either there's a turnover or one of the Heat steps up and make a big 3. You can see the push off.
New York's first turnover of the quarter when he was a freshman at Providence. Eric Murdoch played under head coach Gordy Chiesa, and Jeff Van Gundy was an assistant.
Yeah, well, Jeff said back then he didn't drive this much. He said he loved shooting his jump shot. Now he's killing us with his drive.
Terry Cummings back on the floor, and Hardaway will come back from Miami.
You know, here's a guy that was in Europe last year. We're talking about Eric Murdoch. You know, he told us he just wanted one more shot. He just said, I want another shot at the league. I know I can play in it. I think Riley agrees.
Got waived by Denver. Boy, let me say that again. He got waived by Denver.
Wow, that is bad. It's like getting cut by the Saints.
Giles tries to draw the foul from Murdoch. That was a mini flop. 82-73, under 7 to go. Eric Murdoch wound up finishing last season in Italy. Here's Childs. That's for 3.
Well, he made a big one in game 2. They didn't appreciate what he did after he made it, but it was a big shot.
10 points for Childs. Murdoch. Pump fake. Short rebound. New York. Allen Houston, Deshaun Leonard guards him now. Murdoch has Childs. Jamal Mashburn fronting Larry Johnson and picked up the foul.
Well, that's smart play by Chris Childs. Terry Cummings wanted it in the post, and Childs waved him out and said, no, we're going to Larry Johnson. He has Mashburn on him, and that's an advantage.
And that's 5 fouls on Jamal Mashburn.
Well, we said before the game, with that switch and Larry Johnson going to the 3, that meant Mashburn had to guard Johnson down low. That's a tough matchup. This is what you watch is Allen Houston now with Askins out of the game. Let's see if he can get his shot off.
Leonard stays with him. Leonard fouls him.
So he's much more comfortable when a smaller guy is on him. I mean, you can see it here. He knows all he needs is an inch, and if he can get the ball up, that's the foul there, and then you see another one right here. Leonard knows it also.
New York still not in the penalty. 6 minutes to go. Childs and Murdoch. And here's Allen Houston again with Deshaun Leonard.
Great defense. Great defense again. Deshaun Leonard is doing it on both ends tonight.
He's going to try. No, finds Murdoch. Murdoch drives. And a foul against us.
No, 3 seconds.
3 second violation.
Yeah. Either way, I think that's a break for Miami because New York had a steal and they were going to fast break on it. So that's a break.
Clock stop, 5:39 to go regulation. Miami Heat, they've led all the way once they got to a 4-2 edge. Largest lead was 14. It was cut to 4. And it rests at 6 right now.
Yeah, and I think this timeout was by Jeff Van Gundy. And what he wants to do, he wants to make sure the Knicks come down and get in good offensive sets. The last 2 or 3 times down, they've gotten shots off, but it's not where they want them. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to that ISO at the top of the circle for Allen Houston. Pat Riley told me in that third or second game, they went to it 19 times.
Winner of this series will get either Indiana or Cleveland in the conference semis. And, of course, Cleveland won last night, so that series is 2-1 Indiana now. Atlanta leading Charlotte in Game 3 tonight. They need the victory to send that to a 4th game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that game went all 5. Now, I would be very surprised if the Indiana-Cleveland series went all 5. But that was a great win for Cleveland, a young basketball team. It's always nice to see the young teams do well.
6-point game. Chris Childs picked up by Murdoch. Allen Houston pops out. Vashawn Leonard. They throw it into Larry Johnson. Mashburn with 5 fouls. Murdoch. Johnson.
Well, Johnson wants the goaltending. He's not going to get that. He is going to get a foul. And Pat Riley couldn't get Mashburn out of the game in time. He was trying to get him out to give him a rest, but now he has to rest for the rest of the game.
Yep, that's the 6th foul on Mashburn.
Yeah, and what they're saying is Mashburn hit Larry Johnson on top of the head, and that's what the foul was called. A smart play by Jeff Van Gundy. He called that timeout. The guy who entered the pass was Allen Houston, so you couldn't trap off him. He knew Mashburn had 5 fouls.
Johnson gets the first.
Well, let's see. Well, it's tough to call. And how high did he jump? Not very.
Not very. I wouldn't want that known around the league.
No.
1 of 2 for Johnson. 5-point margin for Miami. Trying to win their 2nd consecutive playoff game in Madison Square Garden. Last victory, Game 6 here, May 16th last spring.
Well, that is the 3rd time that Tim Hardaway has split the double team. The Knicks and Miami and now Indiana with Dick Harden, they are known for their traps on the pick and roll. And one of the rules, you cannot allow the guard to split it. That's the 3rd time Hardaway has done it. And all 3 times there have been fouls committed.
Larry Johnson's first foul. Hardaway at the 5-minute mark gets the first free throw.
You know, we asked Hardaway about being tired in Game 2, and he said, I was emotionally drained. I wasn't physically drained.
Back to a 7-point game. Childs at Houston, Johnson, Mills, Cummings. For New York. P.J. Brown comes to help. Terry Cummings drives, kicks it back to Chris Mills. Now Cummings with Mourning out. 4 on the shot clock. Little fall away, no. Rebound, P.J. Brown.
And Chris Mills has to look for his shot. He had Tim Hardaway on him with 6 seconds left, and instead he threw it to Terry Cummings with Alonzo Mourning on him. He has to look for his offense.
Hardaway comes left. Murdoch drives off the glass, got 2 more.
Eric Murdoch. 3 big games in a row from him.
And Murdoch, as he trots down the court, makes a gesture as if he was cutting his throat. Can anybody say Chris Childs?
Yes.
Ernie Johnson in Atlanta. Here's a look at the Target Center in Minneapolis. Gary Payton and the Sonics getting ready for Game 3 against Minnesota. The series tied up at a game apiece. It's Game 2 of our TBS doubleheader. Right now, let's get back to the Garden. Vern and Doc and Seggs.
All right, AJ, a 9-point game, 4:15 to go. Remember, a critical 3-point play from Chris Childs. He hit the long jumper and then made that gesture as he went down court. Just a moment ago, Eric Murdoch off the glass, and
let's see.
There you go.
Took him a while, but he did it.
Took longer than I thought it would. 86-77, 4 minutes to go.
Knew this would be a tough series, but throat cutting, my goodness.
P.J. Brown with the steal, New York turnover. Hardaway kicks it out to Sean Leonard. Starks back on the floor. Oakley with the rebound. Larry Johnson got two, and he'll shoot one.
You got to make sure he does not make that shot. I mean, you can see him running the court, Larry Johnson. But once he gets it, you have to make sure he does not get that ball up.
86-80, 3:43 to go in regulation.
Every time you think Miami puts them away, they come back. 6-point game.
Allen Houston guards for Sean Leonard. Oakley has Mourning back in the hands of Leonard. Off the front rim. Childs will run for New York. Goes left, kicks it out. Oakley. Mourning is quickly out.
Well, they wanted him to take it.
Childs. Oh, my goodness. Murdoch has it for Miami.
The Knicks offensively right now have no rhythm. They're not getting their sets, and they're out of control.
New York has turned it over 20 times. Miami 15. Mourning quickly over Oakley. And Houston mistimed his
Yeah, he did. Had the rebound, jumped too early. Big break.
Murdoch back to P.J. Brown. Here's Mourning again. And another miss for Alonzo Mourning.
But not facing. Just what Pat Riley said. He wants him to face first before he takes a jump shot.
Mourning with that defensive play, however.
Yeah. And you don't have to score all the time if you're center. You can still play great defense. Good timeout.
Time called by Miami. Timmy Hardaway turns and jaws with the crowd before he heads to the huddle. Game 2 on TBS tonight. It's the third game of the best-of-5 series. The Seattle Sonics into Minneapolis to take on the Timberwolves. Those two teams tied at a game apiece. That's coming up as soon as ours is over. Miami has 3 full timeouts left. New York 2. Neither has a 20. Neither has a foul to give. Dan Marley not able to play tonight, but Deshaun Leonard and Keith Askins have done a fine job on Allen Houston in the last half.
Yeah, in the last half. He hasn't scored in the last 18 minutes of this game, and that's huge. I think what Deshaun Leonard has done, he's decided, well, I can't stop him offensively, so I'll match him offensively.
Ball inbound to P.J. Brown, 2:10 to go.
You know, Vern, if you score 20 and I score 20, that's 0.
Leonard. And Deshaun Leonard slips. Right side to John Starks. Allen Houston scoreless in this quarter. Almost lost it. Alonzo Mourning knocks it back.
Boy, I tell you what, turnovers, block shots, and Knicks being out of control offensively.
P.J. Brown is fouled by Oakley.
And that play right there from Larry Johnson was just miscommunication. He just left P.J. Brown standing under the basket by himself.
Charles Oakley fouls out. 6 points and 7 rebounds, and he sparked a comeback for New York that got them within 4. But Miami has withstood the siege until now, 86-80. The Heat trying to go up 2 games to 1.
Yeah, and they've done this with Alonzo Mourning being in foul trouble most of the game. I mean, I think Deshaun Leonard, Eric Murdoch, and Marty Conley have played just tremendous games for Miami.
Chris
and every
Mills
night.
Back on the floor now. There's Conlon.
Yeah, he was terrific. Yeah. Pat Riley put him in for 2-3 minutes, and it ended up being 18-20 minutes.
Tried ourselves.
Murdoch's been great every single night. And Leonard's really had himself a nice series thus far.
P.J. Brown misses the first. The lead stays at 6.
You know, the 3 games, every single night, every single game in these 3 games, it's been Tim Hardaway in the win and somebody else, or Allen Houston and somebody else. Tonight, it was Allen Houston and really no one else.
Here's Childs. Childs. And again, fine defense underneath by Alonzo Mourning.
The last 4 possessions, been 3 turnovers or 3 bad shots, 2 by Chris Childs, 1 by John Starks, and the other one by Allen Houston.
Allen Houston steals the inbounds. Here's Mills for 3. Yes!
Oh, they won't pull away, though.
1:20 to go. The lead is 4. Starks picks up the foul. That's it for John Starks.
Boy, Jeff Van Gundy did not want that foul. And it was definitely a foul. You know, he's trying to get the flop there, but the bump there was where the foul was at. Not a smart play again. I tell you, the Knicks, the last minute and a half, have not played very smart. And it's been from the guards.
Starks joins Oakley on the bench. Charlie Ward back. And Tim Hardaway, who's 8 of 9 at the line with 26 points in all tonight, he is back to shoot free throws.
Oh, big miss. You see the timeout situation, Vern.
New York has 2, Miami 3.
Yeah, and that's the one to look at is New York. Miami, I don't think will be wasting any timeouts if they don't have to. Missed them both.
Way off the mark. Timeout. New York. The Heat clings to a 4-point lead.
The NBA playoffs on TBS, brought to you by cold, refreshing Zima. Zima, a few degrees cooler. By the new Dodge. From cars to minivans to trucks, it's about change. The new Dodge. By your local AutoZone stores. For the right parts at the right price, look no further than AutoZone. And by Nike.
At Madison Square Garden, here's the series schedule. Miami won Game 1 big. The Knicks came from 14 down to win on Sunday. Game 3 still in the balance. Game 4 Thursday night on TNT. And look who's leading the cheers.
Yeah, you know, I keep thinking about what Pat Riley said this afternoon when he called my hotel room, which is a story in itself. He said it's going to come down to a last shot sooner or later, and the team who makes it wins the series. This might be the game he was talking about.
Charlie Ward and Mills, Johnson, Allen Houston, right side. Mills, Allen Houston, quick entry pass, Larry Johnson. On the floor. Jump ball with 5 seconds.
Well, that's the play that they wanted, going down to Larry Johnson. I'm a little surprised by that because Alonzo Mourning is guarding Larry Johnson. One thing Jeff Van Gundy might have been thinking is if he goes to the basket, will Alonzo be aggressive because of the foul trouble? But with only a minute left, he's going to be aggressive.
Fresh 24.
And here's the hand battle again. You always want to get your hand on top.
Taken by Miami.
Yeah, that jump ball was like another turnover for New York. Hard pick, but clean.
Hardaway. Eric Murdoch.
Oh, boy. Oh, my. You know what? He set him up all game. Every single time he has driven the basketball, no one ran out at him. They were waiting for him to drive. He makes the shot.
Charlie Ward for 2. Here's a steal from Houston. In and out.
Rushed it. Rushed it. See, I think the difference in the last 5 minutes, Miami has gotten the ball in the right guy's hand. Tim Hardaway drives. That's the guy they wanted, and Murdoch makes the shot. But that was a setup, Bert. It was like a setup all game. Murdoch has driven the ball every single time. No one ran out to him. They were waiting for him to drive. He took all day on that shot. That's what driving does for shooting.
Eric Murdoch said in the aftermath of the Game 1 victory in which he starred, it was the best game he played since high school.
Well,
may have equaled it tonight.
Yeah, though I think he played better games than that. Best game since being back in the NBA. 11 points for him tonight.
9 in the fourth quarter.
Ah, you like it.
And Allen Houston with that quick start, 8 of 9 to begin the game, 20 points. Allen Houston 27 points, but zip in the fourth quarter. Scoreless in the last 20 minutes. Well, one of the stories tonight for the Miami Heat, Doc, was Sean Leonard.
Yeah, he not only played pretty good defense on Allen Houston, but he did better because he matched him offensively. Good defense there. In the fourth quarter, I think Houston has really been guarded well by Sean Leonard. And look at the point differential. Going into this game, you tell Pat Riley that Sean Leonard scores one more point than Allen Houston. He said, I'll take it. 7 rebounds to boot.
Margin is 6. Allen Houston still scoreless in the fourth quarter, and the foul on on Chris Mills, and P.J. Brown will come to the other end.
Yeah, I would say the only tactical error I thought that the Knicks made tonight was down the stretch. They waited way too long to get the ball in Allen Houston's hands, and quite honestly, I don't think he could shoot it after not touching it for so long. And I don't think that was Jeff Van Gundy. I think that was guys going solo too much instead of getting the ball to their guy. I think as a point guard or two guard or whoever, you have to understand who your go-to guys are, and you have to get it to them.
Coming up, we'll get you to the tip, we hope. Sonics and Timberwolves. Dan Marley set out tonight. That's game 3. Seattle and Minnesota. Series tied at 1 apiece. 2 misses. Here's Johnson. And Chris Childs. Long range. No. Allen Houston back to Childs. Mills from the corner. No again. P.J. Brown. And P.J. Brown is fouled.
With a hard foul.
Well, Alonzo Mourning, a little exchange.
Well, they didn't appreciate the foul that Mills put on P.J. Brown, but the game's over. And if you're in New York, you just move away. But Eric Murdoch and Sean Leonard, again, it's always been one constant for Miami, either Mourning or Hardaway, but it's those two guys that won this game tonight.
Flagrant foul called on Chris Mills, so P.J. Brown shoots one more, and they get the ball. And the lead is still 6, but 1.2 remaining.
I thought Miami did a nice job of basically keeping this Garden crowd quiet most of the game, and Mourning thought getting off early was important.
Big night for Vashawn Leonard, 28 points. Hardaway compliments him with 27, and Eric Murdoch 9 in the fourth quarter. So the Miami Heat have regained home court advantage. They go up 2-1. For Craig Sager and Doc Rivers, I'm Vern Lundquist. Miami wins it by 6.